Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother with Wisdom, and there's been a lot going on spiritually with me, and the lessons are just, how can I say, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to exist in this moment and to be able to observe myself and everything that is going on around me, and knowing that this is my purpose and I'm aligned with my purpose. And it's not about the appearance. I wrote some things down so I can stay on point. And so let me get to that. The title is The Self and the Selfie, and the spiritual self and the selfie self, beloveds. And understanding the polarity, the duality, the yin and the yang of these essences, energies, entities, influences, and ways of knowing and being with yourself, being at one with yourself. You have to really be able to see, be able to recognize, and recognize yourself, recognize your heart. One of the things that, as I've been going through this journey, Spirit has been working with me with is appearance, and how much we devote to our physical outward appearance. And that is the stage of the selfie self, okay? The selfie self is the narcissistic self, okay? It only sees itself. It only sees what it needs to be in order to be seen, in order to be validated, in order to be materialized, in order to matter, in order to hold a seat of power. Okay? And so this is, recently the High Priestess came up in a spellcaster's deck. And like I said, I don't usually do the spellcasting thing or whatever. Again, spellcasting is what? The appearance of something. Okay? And so the spellcaster High Priestess card came up. And on that tarot card, there are two pillars. Jachin and Boaz. And the High Priestess sits between them. Okay? And in her sitting on that throne, she has to deal with these two pillars, these two influences. One is the selfie self, the outside, the materialized, the heart's desire, what is formed into living matter. The other is the formless, the timeless, the genderless, just existence itself, the conscious awareness, spiritual conscious awareness of existence existing. Period. No good or bad, no this or that, no right or left, no blah, 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 blah. It understands everything is cyclical and a cycle and a season and a time and balances itself. It understands the flow, the ebb and the flow. It understands the yin and the yang. It understands the dynamics of materialized matter. It understands life. It understands death. It understands rebirth. Okay? And it is at peace with its knowing. It does not have doubts. It does not question. It does not have anxiety about yesterday, today, or tomorrow. And this is the absolute truth. The selfie self is the absolute lie. It is the pretender. It is the ego. It is the child of the spirit self. It is the narcissistic child of the spirit self. And the spirit self that incarnated has to mother the selfie self. Okay? Has to raise it up. Has to help it ascend. Has to help it align. Has to rebirth it into being with its knowing, with its gnosis, with its wisdom and discernment. Because the selfie self, it only sees itself. It only knows what it wants, its desires, its need for pleasure, its hunger and thirst to be satisfied. And it is a abyss. It is a void. It is the darkness. It is the potential of where everything is. And this is how creation and creative nature and nurturing can be observed, can be seen, can be witnessed, can be learned from, can be taught, can be achieved. But the path is very narrow, beloveds, because that inner battle, the grip of the selfie self drives every physical thought, desire, hunger, need. And it is so powerful of an adversary that you don't even know it exists. You don't even know it exists. That this is not the truth of who you are, who you incarnated as, what you represent, who you represent, who you are in the essence, down to the atomic particles of yourself. The selfie self doesn't want you to see that, doesn't want you to know that, doesn't want you to be that, because it will have to get up off of its throne. Its worldly throne will be devalued. Its worldly wealth will be devalued. Its worldly wisdom will crumble. and fade away. What is beyond the civilized notions of the self, the philosophies, the science, the metaphysics, the biology, the religion of the self, the selfie self, that we create in our own image of what we desire, of what we believe, of what we feel and what we think and what we accept and what we think we know about this materialized world of matter and mattering in it. Let me get to reading what I wrote because it's very powerful, beloveds. And like I said, this journey of self-inquiry, Valerie Ames Middlebrook. Who are you? Who do you choose to be as a sovereign being of choice? As a spiritual being of authority, power, and principalities, who do you choose to be? What frequency and spectrum do you choose to reflect, to project, to establish as your kingdom? Do you bring paradise, or do you bring heaven, or do you bring hell, or do you bring purgatory? Because these are all states of conscious awareness. Which do you choose to dwell in? Which self do you allow to be God? To be your God. Your God the Father, your God the Mother, your God the child. Can you see it? Are you one with it? Do you know when you veering? Do you know the subtlety, the cunning nature of that snake, of that dragon, of that beastly selfie self? It's a real mother for you, baby. And she comes for you. Truly a whore, truly a beast that will sell your soul to maintain her sense of dominance, her place, its place, because it's male and female. It's not just female. Oh, it's male and female. The dance of the dance of the dance of the dance. The parts of the parts of the parts of the parts of the self. The selfie self that wants to be seen, that wants to be known, that wants you to worship it, you to praise it, you to honor it, you to love it, you to nurture it. That selfie self. You know, the one you hold the camera and you yeah. Yeah. The lessons, baby. They come. They come. They come when you ask for them and when you're ready for them. And when you're ready for them, you see them. You see them. You see them. You see them unfolding. You see them blooming, growing. You see them dying. And then you see them coming back up again in another season and cycle. A whole different essence. A whole different spectrum. A whole different frequency. But it's the same self. Spirit self. Showing you itself. Can you see it? Can you hear it? Do you know it? Is that your mama? Is that your daddy? Or are you letting your selfie self raise you up in this world? Are you ascending in its path, in its image, in its valuations and measurements of what beauty is, of what grace is, of what mercy is, of what love is, of what kindness is, of what pettiness is, of what vengeance is? See, because that selfie self must have something to compare and compete with, because it does not know. It does not compute its own spiritual nature. It denies it. It rejects it. It pushes it away. It says, I would rather be this. This is the truth. I can see it. I can feel it. I can touch it. I can taste it. And I can make it be beautiful. I can, by artificial means, through makeup, through magic, through the lens of cameras and the filters, through the imagination of the selfie mind, that narcissistic pool of depth and surface. That rabbit hole of Alice in Wonderland, that Never Never Land of Peter Pan. Civilizations have materialized and mattered and remain in our memories as examples of selfie selves and spiritual self. And we need to be able to distinguish between what is real and what is fake. Because all that glitters, baby, is not gold or golden. That alchemy won't work out. The base materials are not pure. You cannot build something pure with something impure. Before you can build a heaven, before you can bring a heaven onto a manifested earth, your consciousness has to be purified of your selfie self. Because the selfie self has to measure, has to compare, has to compete. It has to be seen. And it's going to keep changing. The valuation, oh, this is right, this is wrong. That was right at the time, but now we need to put this over there. Or those curtains was good, when we first, but this 2024, they don't look, that's been played out. That's been worn out. But you love those curtains. Let them go. Well, I'll just save them because, I love them. So there's going to come a time when I'm going to need them again, and I'll put them up. I'll put them up somewhere. I love them so much. Maybe my kids will love them, and they'll want them and have put them in their house, and the great grandkids. We pass along our shit, our selfie, narcissistic shit. Why? Because truthfully, beloveds, that's all we have to give. Until we recognize that we have more. Until we stand on that spiritual self, the valuation that the spiritual self, that is a higher consciousness, a higher frequency, and a higher spectrum that must be maintained, that must matter, that must be mothered into the psyche, into the biology, into the quantum physics and dynamics, into the health and the wealth of the spirit. The spirit has to be born and reborn into the material world, which means the selfie self has to step back. It has to die. It has to let go. It has to become the compost, the fertilizer, the nutrients, okay? It becomes the lessons, and you appreciate it. Don't you dare malign your selfie self. You love it. You said, thank you, I'm grateful for the lessons that you hold in this material world to show and feed my spirit and expand my spiritual consciousness, because you cannot have one without the other. Both must be seen. Both must be recognized. And then they have to be intertwined, like that snake on a pole. In order to have that vertical, you need that coil. You need that spiral. You need the curves, the waves of the sound and the frequencies and the spectrums in order to see the contrast clearly, in order to choose. in order to separate yourself from those that can't see and understand that they too are just caught in their selfie self. Don't take it personal. This is how it works. This is the process. This is the pattern. What you sow, you will reap. Karmically, some of them, because they choose from their hearts not to see or hear the spiritual within them. They ignore it. They deny its existence. They hate it. They're afraid of it. Why? Because it'll take away the selfie self. And that's all they got. That's all I got. What you talking about, Willis? This all I got. Me. What you see. That means you're immature spiritually and you haven't developed enough. You haven't grown spiritually enough. And I don't have to sweat the technique of mothering you, of fixing you, of trying to take over your lane, your car, your system, your processes, your procedures, in order to direct you. That again is the cunning of the self, the selfie self. Okay? See it. Because that snake, baby, that dragon ain't no joke. And the subtlety with which it will come at you and use you and infiltrate you and influence you, your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your desires, thus your what? Your heart. What does God judge? Your appearance? The heart, baby. The heart. Excuse me. Let me read what I wrote, beloveds. Okay, because this is such a powerful lesson for me. Like I said, and nostalgia has been, I've been swimming in it. And nostalgia is the playground of the selfie self. That's where all the reflections are. And it's okay to observe them, but to not attach to them, not to get back on into that selfie self that existed at that time, in that moment, in that snapshot, in that freeze frame. To realize, yeah, what was the lesson? Caught in that. What was the spiritual lesson? Caught in that freeze frame, in the frequencies and spectrums of it, for me to see and to hear. What is it showing me? What is it telling me? I'm going to talk to it and see it and communicate with it through my spiritual self, through my highest self. That don't run on feelings and thoughts. That is not bound to the framework of time. That is not even bound to the limitations of the planet Earth itself. You have to be able to know this aspect of yourself, this truth of yourself. This is the highest truth of yourself. Why would you deny it? In order for material riches, temporary things? Do the math, baby. Spiritually and lyrically, you've been being told. You've been being shown. All you have to do is see and hear to know. But you got to do it through the spirit. And I'm going to tell you something, okay? Everybody is not. Everybody has spirit. But everybody's spiritual frequency and spectrum is not the same. It's not the same. And you've got to be on the lookout. You've got to be listening and watching and observing those beings who pretend to be one thing, and yet they are here to ensnare your soul through your selfie self's desires, because they see you, they hear you, they read you, they know what you want. We have got to be able to spiritually learn to stay focused, to stay seated in our conscious, spiritual, highest spiritual consciousness. We have got to learn how to use and direct the authority, those lightning bolts, to put things back in their electrical place of matter and mattering immediately, with discernment, not judgment, spiritual discernment. And that is where the lessons are. That is where we are, beloveds. We are infants in this. This is the new reality that is being born, while the old reality of the selfie self is dying. Because the more I look at the selfie self, the more I'm like, that ain't it. That can't be it. That ain't good for my soul. That ain't good. That ain't good for nobody. What is it good for? For the self and the selfie self. Mr. Big Shot. Mr. I Am. Mr. False God, in the image of my God of knowing right and wrong. What I say is right and what you do is wrong. See it. Hear it. And know, beloveds, not everybody is going to see it and hear it. And there is nothing that you can do that's going to change their minds regarding who they are when it comes to being and identifying as a self. All you can do is share your truth. Share it freely. Share it. and understand that the rewards is going to be heaven on earth. Meaning it's going to be a higher spiritual consciousness that survives. Because that is the design of the creation. That is the nature of this whole observation, to watch it unfold. And to know that it was good. Let me read what I wrote. The spiritual self and the selfie self. Observing, knowing, and choosing your reality. The lesson. It began to manifest itself with the pink Yeti sweater. When I first ordered it, it was stolen from my apartment's mail package area. You see, I lusted for this Yeti pink sweater. It was something my heart, my desire, myself, my younger self had always wanted. Okay, being a big girl, impossible. 2023, through Sheen, it's possible. It was stolen. I'm getting my sweater. I don't care if I got to order it 50 million times. I'm getting my sweater. And it was personal that it got stolen from me. That's what I said, remember? I saw it. I heard it. I felt it like that. Myself. Selfie self did. Spiritual self said, this sweater gonna teach you. It's gonna teach you. Be careful what you wish for, beloveds. Understand the cosmic laws. Understand the wisdom of discernment beyond the cunning of the snake. Okay? There's no competition. There's none. There's none. You talking about hat tricks, magic. When you see, when you know, when you hear, when you can sit down with it and be with it, even when you let it take you around and lead you by the nose like a chicken with your head cut off, that's your lesson that you got to learn. You are choosing. You're either going to be your spiritual self that you're advocating for, that you're speaking of, that you're giving birth to, that you're seeding the world with, that you're seeding your reality with, your outside with, that you're seeding your inside with. And you're watching it unfold. And you're watching, just like the sower of seeds, the parable. You're watching some of it fall on the rocks. You're watching some of the birds come take it. You watch some getting stepped on and trod on, and you watch some coming up through the concrete. And you watch others just having a whole meadow and field and just growing trees and forests and just everything. And you understand the nature of things. It all feeds itself. All is one. No matter how conflicting the day or the night, the amount of light. Each serve, each phase serves, each minute serves. In its design is well thought out, beyond a human mind, beyond a human thought of knowledge and intellect of the self, selfie self, this facade. That we give, that we worship, that we praise, that we want others to love and to praise and to worship and to know and to like and to see and to hear and to validate. When we are existence itself. And there's never a moment, there's never a second, there's never a lifetime where we do not exist in some shape, form, or fashion as our highest self. Allow that to resonate with you. The body decays, grows old, and dies. But baby, the spirit is one. Has no beginning, has no ending. That's your truth. That's the nature of you. Don't let this matrix system get a hold on you and your selfie self in your red dress. Woo, baby. This pink Yeti sweater, honey. That's a lesson. That's a lesson. That's a lesson. This is a lesson. Like I said, to have carried this desire from childhood all the way into my adulthood. Have it present itself. Here you go, Val. Oh, you can even afford it. It's cheap. And it's in your size. Breathe, girl, breathe. Breathe, baby, breathe. It got stolen. It got stolen. I'm ordering it again. I got my sweater. I'm wearing it now, y'all. How you like me now? That selfie self, boy. She's something else. She's something else. But you know what? I see her. I see her now. I see her, and I see her wanting to matter. Her desire is to matter, is to exist. You exist, you matter, but you are not the highest form of existence. You are not what animates existence. You are not what created existence. You are not what will exist when existence, the physical, stops existing. You are temporary. You are a minor role. You are, what is that called? Supporting actress. You support the highest spirit. See, that's where the cunning comes in, and that's why the devil fell, because he didn't want to support. He wanted to be the star. That's that cunning of that selfie self. And understand how powerful that is and how cunning it is that it even manifested itself in the heavens and took a third of the heavens with it. Okay? So understand what you're dealing with. It's not simple. So don't beat yourself up. Okay? Learn to love yourself unconditionally, even your selfish self. And say, come here, baby, I see you. I see you. But you're not getting your way. You're not finna touch the stove. Your little 2-year-old tail not finna drive the car. You're not ready for that. And as a mother, as your caretaker, as your overseer, I have your well-being in my heart. You have been gifted to me to take care of. And I'm going to allow my spirit to do that, not my selfish self. This is, like I said, the lessons are coming much faster, much deeper. They're landing different. There's no beating myself up. There's no, Valerie, you were so stupid and there's none of that. There's only the aha, eureka moment. You struck gold. This is gold, girl. This is gold. Allow your higher self to transmute your physical lessons into spiritual gold. Okay? Like I said, that pink Yeti sweater, it had its own lesson for me. And it was harbored. It was given refuge. It represents something to the selfie self. And it manifested itself out for a bariatric appointment. I mean, look at the surroundings. Look at all of it. See how all of it plays. Sit with it. Don't judge it. Discern. Oh, connect the dots. See what the picture truly is. Not what you think and what you feel, what you want, what you desire. See the truth. Love the truth. Simply because it is the truth. Let me keep going. See how the self is, you see? See what I mean? The self is like, well, you think you're talking about me? I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to run this show too. You cannot detach your conscious being from your thoughts and your feelings, because your thoughts and your feelings are what feed your consciousness, okay? But what you can do is regulate the food that you feed your consciousness. Feed it the truth. And when them little lies creep up and when that other stuff cut the head clean off of it. Nope. You do not get to be a weed in my garden. Nope. You do not get to snake and dig holes and rabbit holes. Nope. Not on my watch. Keep the snakes out your garden, baby. Keep the snakes out your garden. However they come, and they gonna find all kind of ways to come at you through your own heart, through your own desires, through your own feelings and thoughts and what you think you know about yourself. Okay? Be vigilant. Because that snake is a lion ready to devour you. I lusted and I desired this sweater. Sweater, don't sweat the technique. Sweating the technique. Covering skin. I'm naked. Pink Yeti fur, baby. I ain't naked no more. Come on, look at me. Like I say, don't sweat the technique. And that is something also from my past. And it had its own slick ass meaning to my selfie self, okay? And here it is coming up with all the bubbling up from the depths, beloveds, of I look at everything that's happening in the time frames and cycles. This December month right now, this is when I got pregnant with my daughter, okay? So there are things in my conscious awareness that are bubbling up. My daughter is 43 years old, okay? But here go this narcissistic pool of reflection saying, I got something to show you. I got something to tell you. Psst, psst, psst. I see you. I see the lust. I see the need to stay in the seat. I see the need for me to say, no, that's not your seat. Get up and you go to the back. You go to the back. I love you. You go to the back. I love you. In my unconditional love for you, I'm going to keep you where you belong. I'm not going to let you lie to yourself. I'm not going to let you fool and trick yourself. That wouldn't be loving of me. That's not something a mother would do. Again, the mothering of matters, beloveds. This Venus message. The castration of the penis and the balls and the throwing it into the sea. The narcissistic pools of wonder that pull you, that want to show you and mirror certain reflections of your desires to you. To lure you, to lure that selfie self, to expand that selfie self's hot air balloon. There's that Wizard of Oz. I knew it was coming. Now, I was still in La La Land. Some things felt a little off, and he could not hold my gaze. Oh, this is about the man. Okay. Oh, okay, I skipped the whole lot. All right, skip the whole page. Let me focus. Well, I sweated the technique. I had to have it. My selfie self said, It was a must-have in order for happiness, satisfaction, pleasure to be had. And so I reordered it. Waited several months to wear it, but wear it I did. 100%. Paired it with black lace skirt, fish scale stockings, and you could not tell me, myself and I, that I was not cute, lit, hitting the mark, bullseye, bingo, jackpot. I wore it to the bariatric surgery appointment. After appointment, feeling like $1 billion, I am on top of the world. I noticed a guy with a beautiful wooden cane. I have a wooden cane. Mine is willow too, but it wasn't willow like his was. His was nice. That was a boss cane, okay? And so I noticed a guy with a beautiful wooden cane. Complimented him on it. It was diamond willow, okay? And he starts up this whole conversation with me, telling me about this cane and the significance of it. Okay, canes help you walk. Remember I keep saying baby stepping, and when you get old and you get to a certain, you need that other third leg and this and that. Canes support you. Like I said, look at all of the signs, the symbols, the symbiology of the lesson. Everything is talking and speaking to you. Okay? As in the time of it happening, be present. Even if yourself is present, when you come reflect on the self and what the selfie self is saying. Reflect on it. See how true it is to the higher self, the spiritual self. And then weed out what you need to weed out. Regulate what you need to regulate. Lift up what you need to lift up. Let go and throw away what you need to let go and throw away. What does not serve your higher self. Your higher self is unconditional love. What does not serve unconditional love? Baby, let it go. Learn to let it go and let it go quickly. Learn to let it go without attachment. And I'm going to tell you, like I said, the nostalgia of your consciousness, your subconscious, your unconscious, is going to bring memories back up. That is the way the subliminal, that is the way the cautious and the cautionary tales are woven. So you need to be aware of things, the ebb and flow. Okay? The phases, the cycles, the seasons, the ins and the outs, the ups and the downs, the round and the rounds. Be aware. Be one with them. Don't resist them. That's another lesson. And so he was telling me about a whole convo with the cane and how he has another one that he would love to give me that belonged to his sister who had passed. Okay? And I come from an age, that Generation X. We were raised that when somebody thinks enough of you to give you something, no matter what it is, you take it and you be grateful for it and you show appreciation for it. And so getting gifts, once again, that little girl in me, you know, wanting to have and feeling gifts as pleasure and having, receiving, being pleasurable, you know, and this is the kind of pleasure I can indulge in and have because I'm not in a relationship. I'm not in a physical relationship. I'm not in an emotional relationship. I'm not in a sexual relationship. Okay? And so My pleasures, woo, they come how they come. And they are just as good to me. Okay? There's no, oh, this is, well, you got to have sex in order to be having pleasure. No, you don't. There are many things in this existence that gives you pleasure and gives your highest spiritual self pleasure, gratification, satisfaction that lasts rather than temporary, momentous. And then you got to get that again. Then you got to put up with all the stuff that come with it. But the selfie self is the boss. And so it's going to pay the cost to be the boss when you let it. But when you no longer say you're not the boss of me, you can go sit in the back seat back there. Sit down. And be quiet. It's a whole different story. And that within itself is pleasurable. Maintaining that becomes self-rewarding. That's the gift that keeps giving. That's the expansion of your conscious awareness. That's the expanding of your spiritual instincts and intuition. That's the purifying of your heart and your soul. Okay. Now, when I was speaking with this man and was in La La Land, there was something that was off. My instincts and intuition. And the selfie self is in charge. So it's just like, Valerie, you tripping, you bugging. It's okay. You know, you have this playing in the background, but everything else is playing in the foreground. And you're with it. And you're telling the red flag, wait a minute. I'm not listening to that. I'm listening to this man. What? Mm-hmm. Why? Because he is engaging with the selfie self, okay? And that takes precedent. And everything else is held in the consciousness. And it'll be reviewed later. But we're not going to listen to the red flags that we're seeing. And this man can't hold. He's engaging your eye contact. He's seeking your eye contact, but he cannot hold it. He holds it for a minute and then he becomes self-conscious and then he looks away. And he keeps, looking to see who's looking and this and this and that and that. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's just self-conscious. Selfie self-conscious. Like I said, not surprised he felt like that because I felt him feeling nervous because he thought people were watching, but he braved through it and I let him put his number in my phone. This is the selfie self being itself, exerting itself. This is I got the phone number. My pink sweater wearing behind still look good. My appearance, my vibration, my spectrum is still on point. My narcissistic brand is popping, is lit, is on fire. In my selfie self's eyes and viewpoint. That's the fire. This is the month of Sagittarius. The archer, the aims. The aiming for the mark of something. Hitting that bullseye, like I said. Not sweating the technique. There's a lot here to unpack. And I'm enjoying unpacking it. And I love the lessons that are learned. last night, I went and posted. I got on this app, this AI app, and I kept putting pictures in there, and I'm like, that don't look like me. That don't look like me. Maybe in another lifetime, but. And then this morning when I woke up, I'm like, why are you indulging in that fantasy? Why are you giving birth to another world, another consciousness world of lies? What is so wrong with your reality? What is so wrong with the truth? The naked truth. That you got to cover it up with all these filters and this and that and this and that. That's the selfie self. That's where all of this came from, beloveds. Like I said, you are your greatest teacher. And when you decide to mother yourself and be the best mother that you can to your highest self, knowing that you carry within you the Holy Spirit, the divine child, born, incarnated, and that you literally have to mother that, and you're capable. But you have an adversary, and that adversary is you, your thoughts and your feelings, the conditioning of this world, your life experiences, how you think about them, how you hold them, how you let them go, how you're dependent upon them, how they support your idea of yourself, how they support and are the foundation that you build your existence, your earthly existence upon. That's your wealth. And so, beloveds, my writing is horrible. I myself, my selfie, is still still got it validating narcissistic, it's all about me mode. I do a video blabbering all the way. Then Spirit says pull cards. And I should have known how deep of a lesson this is and was going to be. After this encounter with my selfie self, I became high on my own supply, as far as allowing the selfie self its thoughts, feelings, beliefs, nostalgia, to not only be seeded, accepted and allowed, but to take root. Anchor itself with a past, present, and future manifesting ability. When I wrote that kind of blew me away, beloveds, because I think we don't truly understand what manifesting is. M-A, man, infesting. Okay? So we're feasting and we're festing on the man or the or the matter that we create and give birth to. And our selfie self, is not consciously aware that it is self-creating its own. It's eating its own tail. That's the image, the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, came up. So that's very powerful with all that's coming forth and all that's coming through, beloveds. That is very powerful. And then we give birth to these feelings and beliefs and desires. And it comes forth as spiritual fruit or works of the flesh that we're going to consume, that we're going to eat, that we feed ourselves. that we find sustenance and supplement and support from. Not only be seeded, accepted, and allowed, but to take root. Again, the parable of the sower of the seed comes up, beloveds. Anchor itself with a past, present, and future manifesting ability. So, when the snake in the Garden of Eden asked Eve, is it really true about death and about being like God? The seed he planted had a past, a present, and a future tense that was manifested into multiverses and dimensions of selfie selves. Hello? Distraction. Okay. We are capable of multidimensional spiritual conscious awareness, beloveds. And that is why the Bible, all the scriptures, all the stories, all the myths speaks of so many different layers of worlds, of realities, the underworld, the middle earth, the upper ninth heaven, the this and the that and the. It's telling you how many different, when Jesus said, my Father has many mansions, his house has many mansions, many rooms. There are many conscious awarenesses that you need to understand, that I'm going to make a place for you. That means an expansion is taking place in the cosmic conscious awareness beyond the realm of physical time. Okay? We manifest our conscious awareness. We manifest and materialize through consciousness. Okay? Understanding and understanding this, you need to supersede your spiritual self on the throne, or the one in the chair holding the reins in the chariot, or the Merkaba seat driving. And you have to let your selfie self be the observer of the truth, because you're teaching it. You cannot allow it to teach you. You cannot allow it to mother you and master you. Then you become its masochistic slave. And you'll fall for anything and everything. And anybody can say anything and everything to you. And your doubts and your fears and your this and that and the others will interfere with the truth, distract you from seeing and hearing the spiritual truth of it. So be particular about what you consume, and understand why you're consuming it and what is there to show you at this particular point, place, and time. Nothing is coincidence. Okay? And when you start seeing synchronicities and you start having deja vus, remember I said I was getting all nostalgic? when you start going into those dimensions, or those dimensions start rising in your spiritual conscious awareness, pay attention, because something is changing. A lesson is coming. A lesson is happening. Okay? Be conscious of it. See and hear spiritually what is being communicated to you. Your selfie self is going to be la 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 la. Back seat, close the door, whatever you need to do to be present with your spiritual self in the stillness, to get fed, to get rooted, to ground yourself, to re-energize yourself, to regenerate, to recover, to heal, to re-emerge. Baby. Be aware of the truth of your conscious needs, your spiritual conscious needs, the truth of what your spiritual heart desires, not your flesh. You need to be able to distinguish between the two. Appearance. And I'm not getting my bariatric surgery for appearance. I'm getting it for health reasons. Okay. But that's coming up. That's rising. And it's everywhere. It's permeating. It's imprinting. And I'm looking at the old patterns and I'm saying, no. I'm not that. No. That square doesn't fit in this circle. Okay? That triangle does not. I'm a triangle. I'm a square now. I'm a circle now. That peg right there don't fit in here. Nope. That's old. That's ancient. That's false data. That's corrupted data. Okay? It no longer works. That code no longer speaks. I no longer speak that language. That can no longer communicate to me in the way it used to. Because I choose my higher self. I choose to love me unconditionally and not to hate me and not to doubt me and not to worship and seek death. So caught up in the subconscious and unconscious existing reality, materialized as forever memories of matters that still need mothering. I am a bad mama to them because I don't want to take care of these aspects of myself, my desires, my inclinations, my intentions, my earthly desires, my feelings, my thoughts, my needs to be vindicated, to be valued, to be this and that and the other. I'm learning me. I'm knowing every degree, every angle, and I'm not in a rush. I'm an eternal being. I know that my path is taking me right where it needs to. All I have to do is pay attention to the path. Okay? All I have to do is observe from the spirit and not the self. And baby, that's a Herculean feat within itself. That you actually have to become God and God-like to maintain that Christ consciousness. Okay, you have to be one with the Father and the Mother. You have to know what that means. And you have to, when something comes at you to tempt you, no. I don't want none of that. All that glitters ain't gold. And you'll understand your heart's desires. Valerie, you love clothes. You're a clothes whore. That's my own label for myself. That's what I branded. That's what my Selfie self has branded me. That's the box that she loves and labels and loves to live in and support and will sell herself for. Will get herself in situations to receive gifts and this and that and this, and because that's what this world has taught her. That's what she has latched on to, on how to consummate her worth, on how to sign it on a dotted line. But when you take the boxes and the brands away, what do you have? When you take the clothes away, when you take the size away, when you take the colors away, when you take the price tags off of the clothes, where you going to wear the clothes, when you going to wear the clothes, even just the ability to have them. That's a selfish pleasure. And it serves the self. It does not serve the spirit. And because it serves the self gets fatter. The self gets wealthier. The self gets stronger. It's like those two wolves. Which do you feed? And you can't sit up there and say, well, I don't have two wolves in me, okay? Oh, I got both of them, and both of them, I need both of them. We live in a world of balance, true enough. But you have to find the alchemical blend. You can't just have one or the other. Just like you can know that your highest spirit is going to have to mother the lower Selfie self. It ain't about, well, I didn't ever ask it to be born, or I didn't, why I got to do, oh God, what? Go to Job. Go to the book of Enoch. Understand spiritual purpose, spiritual consciousness, the expanding of spiritual conscious awareness in a timeless, multi-dimensional multiverse. And understand that you are only one aspect of, but you have contact with all the other realities. Okay? And the more conscious you become in this earthbound reality, the deeper everything is able to circulate through the collective. And I'll leave that there. Okay? Learning to stop judging appearances. I'm so caught up in the subconscious and unconscious existing reality materialized as forever memories of matters that still need mothering. I am a bad mama to them because I don't want to take care of these aspects of myself through fear or through doubt or through self-hate or through it's not fair, through resentment, through I don't care, fuck it. These are still memories and aspects and energy and essence that has to be worked through, that has to be transmuted, that has to be realized, that has to be seen, that has to be heard, has to be processed. Okay? In order for the healing, the regenerating, the rejuvenating to take place, in order for heaven to come upon the earth, you have to take care of these selfie self aspects of yourself. You cannot let them frighten you. You cannot let them overshadow you. You cannot let them overwhelm you. And you do that by knowing that you are one with the divine consciousness, and that there is nothing that can come across your path that you cannot handle, that you cannot be at peace with, in the understanding of the unfolding of existence as it is expanding spiritual consciousness. Keep that in your heart of hearts so that you understand the processes that are taking place, the alchemical processes, because all the biological, biology, emotions, everything is hormonal, that is electrical, that infuses and causes a certain alchemical bond or being or philosopher's stone within you. And the more you heal that, the better fruit you'll produce, the more mature fruit you'll produce. Okay? And the less death you will experience because of it. And this bad mama thing, whew, that's another whole show. And so I'm not going to get on that right now. But I want you to understand how many of us have felt like motherless children because we live in this motherless world. Okay? Because in this world that has manifested itself, it is the realm of the stepmother. It is the realm of the great harlot and the beast. This is the realm that our spirit exists in. And we have to mother it. We have to allow it to teach, it to lead, and it to direct us throughout this labyrinth, this matrix, this maze of feelings and thoughts and memories that are imprinted and implanted here that still influence us. Us being our sense of self, our selfie self. Okay? The spiritual self isn't influenced. The selfie self, though, oh, baby. Whatever way the wind blows, okay? On any given day, in any given season. Change at the drop of a blink of an eye. That's when you know it's not real. My desires, inclinations, intentions, and life lessons that I give birth to by manifesting the desire in order to eat its fruit. That's the whole lesson of the Garden of Eden, beloveds. In that one, my desires, inclinations, intentions, and life lessons that I give birth to by manifesting the desire in order to eat its fruit. I'm gonna leave that there and keep going. Learning to step judging appearances from the insight of the selfie self. Bird Box, the movie, comes up. Blonde, the movie, comes up. Beloved, the movie. The Color Purple, Lackawanna Blues, School Days, Sparkle, An Imitation of Life. Sounder, Miss Jane Pittman, Tarzan, The Rifleman, Little House on the Prairie, Touched by an Angel, and so much of my own heart and soul and blood spilled poetry and writings of my selfie self and my highest self merging in order for me to see it, in order for me to know it, in order for me to say, is this your truth or is this your lie? Is this something you just speak and say to yourself? Is it fake or is it real to you, Valerie? Is this truly what circulates within your spiritual heart? Beyond the scene. Let's keep going. Seeing the lust for power and domination by the selfie self. Know the truth of and depth of self-hate that must be recognized and healed and integrated to bring about wholeness of conscious awareness. And this is coming up through everything that I'm seeing in this world as far as the wars that are taking place all over the globe, as far as the shifts of power and them turning upon themselves, the elite turning upon themselves and finding the one that they were willing to sacrifice. Okay? And they're willing to do that so the attention is taken off of them as a collective. And we focus only on the individual, but not the systematic disease itself. Focus only on the individual. See only that, hear only that. Step back. Understand why it's sacrificing one of its own. Understand the greed. Understand the spirit of narcissistic domination, of power play. Understand the dynamics of the master and the masochistic slave mentality. I did videos on these when I was going through dark times of my own that brought me to where I am. This wisdom, it didn't come cheap. The discernment that is wisdom came from the blood, sweat, tears, and the ache, and the baby, and the many deaths and rebirths. Knowing that it's not over till it's over. This is the process, this is the procedure of the alchemical fire process of purification of the human spirit. That's what it is. And when you know that, you know that. And so when your selfie self wants to come over and have all of these fantasy worlds and fantasy roles and occultic this and hidden that and la 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 la. I'll stick with the plain truth that I can see and hear. Thank you. I don't want to know about that. I don't want to know about this. I don't want to experience that. I don't want to open that door. Look and see what's behind door number. Nope, that's okay. You can keep door number 2, 3, and 4, and as many or more as you got back there. Okay? I'm gonna stay right where I am because it's resonating. It's ringing true. And it's proving itself true. And I can see the truth of it. And I can know it in the depths of my conscious awareness. Even in my subconscious and unconscious. When I have dreams now. I was having a dream where I was being attacked by someone practicing spellcraft. And they were waving this flower in front of my face. And the only thing that I could say and do was to keep repeating Jehovah Jireh. Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Jireh. And I had known what that meant a while back, and I had to go look it up again. It's God will provide. So don't you worry about nothing attacking you, coming at you, getting in your path, confronting you, testing you. God will provide. That's what you put your faith in. Don't worry about what's going to jump out, and how big or how small or how deadly or how this or how poisonous or it's Jehovah Jireh. God will provide. Plant that in your heart. And let this world come undone as it is doing. And you stay grounded in your peace of spiritual conscious awareness. And just keep observing with discernment, spiritual discernment of what is taking place in front of your eyes, what is manifesting, what is mattering, and how the unseen is molding different things into shape, and how it's pouring it, and how it's draining it and doing what it needs to do in order to bring about a purification. So you hold on to your unconditional love. And don't you worry about appearances of stuff. And when you find yourself getting pulled into that world of appearances, ask yourself why. What memories, what aspects of yourself need mothering, need that spiritual maturity to say, look, baby, this is this and that is that. That's the truth. And in this house, we serve the truth. Simple as that. But that ain't simple, believe me. So much of my own heart and soul and blood, spilled poetry and writings of my selfie self and my highest self, seeing the lust for power and domination by the selfie self, knowing the truth of and the depth of self-hate that must be recognized and healed and integrated to bring about wholeness of conscious awareness. Wholeness of conscious awareness. In soul retrieval, that means you're getting every aspect of your memories, every piece of your hurt feelings, and your thoughts and your beliefs. And you are now being the mature mother to them and taking care of them. You're allowing them to exist in the best way that they can. And you're teaching them. You're teaching them. And as you're teaching these aspects of yourself, you're seeding ground. You're creating heaven and earth. Okay? You are co-creating multiverses of materialized matters that will manifest and crystallize for your senses to enjoy. Pleasure is yours. But you have to know how, you have to be spiritually mature enough to hold sacred space for it, because it is sacred. It is the most sacred. When you open your spiritual consciousness enough to understand why, in the highest of heavens, as it has been described, there are unimaginable beings facing this throne and this being upon this throne and saying, holy, 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 unceasingly. That is wholeness that is being praised and appreciated and worshipped and received and expanded upon. And you are gifted. You are blessed to be here to do that. Hold fast to the sacred. Spirit is the sacred. Don't get no more sacred than that. Keep it in high esteem, in high regard, in high places. That's what the point of the peaks and the mountains, up, ascension, is all about. This is ancient. And it's time, this Aquarian age, where we grasp these concepts as spiritual beings, because the culmination of the manifestations is getting ready to come to its another conclusion. And another era, another epoch, another world, another way is opening up, is being born, is being reborn, is coming, is crowning, is here. And you need to see it, and you need to hear it, and you need to know it, and you need to know that you are a mother to it, and you are a midwife for it. And you need to love it unconditionally. And you need to teach the next 7 generations this truth on how to see and know and choose between the higher self and the selfie self. It's time for those lessons now. The contrast of the outer world in which the selfie self is projected and matters in the materialization of humanity with the inner spirit self that is formless, ageless, colorless, genderless, and peaceful, unconditional love. The contrast of the outer world in which the selfie self is projected and matters in the simulation of existence, in the matrix system. That selfie self is projected and exists as contrast to the inner spirit self that is formless, ageless, colorless, genderless, and is peaceful, unconditional love. So it is not at war with itself. It does not resent any aspect of itself. It does not hate or does not like or doubt or not have faith in any aspect of itself. Because it observes. It doesn't get attached. It has no needs. It's not dependent upon being a right or a wrong. It has the patience to wait and see how things unfold. Because things can appear to be one thing and be entirely another. And something can have your nose open so wide and be the death of you. Literally, physically, metaphysically, spiritually. And this is the truth of our reality, of our existence. It's not a fairy tale. It's not hocus pocus. It's not some Wizard of Oz story or Never Never Land. It's not all the myths and the this and the that and the that and the this and the civilizations and da 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 da. All of that is appearance. What was lost was the spirit self. Through the manifesting of all those civilizations, colonizations, amplifying of the selfie self. Me, my, I. I'm better, I have to have it, I'm your master, I'm superior, blah, 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 blah. See all of this playing out. Like I said, understand we're coming to another culmination. Understand how you get through the culmination spiritually, because physically you are not going to survive it. But you are able to spiritually get yourself together. There will be some who physically endure what's called the Great Tribulation. But the majority but that has been provided for. That is why there is a resurrection. In a stand. That is why there are different levels of heaven and hells. That is what ascension is all about. It's about your spiritual conscious awareness, understanding what is unlimited, accepting that as the truth, and allowing it, and not allowing yourself, your selfie self, to put you in boxes and labels and limitations and brand you unfit or unworthy. or to judge yourself and the situation and circumstances that happen to you that are needed for you to purify yourself, your thoughts and your feelings. You got to go through. It's a choice. This is the war of the powers and principalities that govern our existence, and we must be ever vigilant and ever forgiving of ourselves, our selfie selves, and that need mothering in order to materialize the matters of heaven on earth. Reflection is self-inquiry. You enter knowing and become one with your higher self, or you die until, period. Cycle and season of redemption is over. Beloveds, you need to understand that the earth is on a clock. Okay? Existence upon the earth plane is on a clock. It has a beginning and it has an ending. It is a proving ground. It is a proving place. It is a mother. It is a womb. Wombs hold sacred space. Something is born from the womb. Wombs become old, where they no longer bleed, no longer can give birth. They have a beginning and an end. The earth, some say this is the fifth earth. We are entering into another cataclysmic period. How many more earths there are? No one knows. Reflection is self-inquiry, and you either know and become one with your highest self, you either adopt, align that Christ consciousness, you either become one with Mother and Father God, you become the child of it, or you cease to exist. And that plane or that way of ceasing to exist is called the second death, beloveds. That is the space, that is the womb that will hold that. It is the abyss. Okay? It is the mother of all abysses. One that there is no being born out of. When it holds you, it's got you. And like I said, that second death, that speaks of revolutions, speaks of evolutions, speaks of times. Okay. Until the cycle and season of redemption is over. We are living in a cycle and season of redemption that has existed all the way to the stories of Tiamat in Sumerian and Babylonian times, ones that have come down through all the different Lumerias and Atlantis and Mu and the earth that we know now, the civilizations that have existed in our lifetimes that we have been taught about, that we still have the archaeology and the relics of. Understand that when the cycle and season of redemption is over, these things will not matter, meaning they will have no form. They will be like the dust and the constellations and the planets that we know of our universe and galaxy and cosmic understandings. This is the Mazzaroth. This is the nature. This is the nurture. This is the evolution. This is the process. This is the alchemy of turning lead into gold, and vice versa, and back again. This is expanding spiritual conscious awareness. And you have to understand that everything else may take place in time and has the gravity of time. But the highest self is not bound to the gravity of time, place, matter, form, substance, sound, none of that. That's a lot for the human mind to consciously comprehend, especially when you're dealing with a self that's fairy tales. That ain't true. That don't even make sense. Only the essence is able to rise and recognize its own accountability to the self. My handwriting, y'all. Only the essence that is able to rise and recognize its own accountability to the self, to the highest self, beloveds, are gifted in the leftover particles, atoms, and matter to begin once again the expanding of spiritual conscious awareness through materialized matter in order to observe the self and say it is good. And to truly understand the atom and the particles of the male and female particles, atoms, subparticles, subatomics, molecules, so forth and so on. You have to understand it at that level of self, of that level of fragmentation, to understand the coming together of it like in slow motion, seeing the whole picture. Okay, seeing the whole 3D picture, seeing the whole high definition picture, having everything materialize in a, how should I say that, spirit? Perfected molecular structure, okay? In a truly alchemized way, in a truly purified way. All of these siftings has to go on. And that is why we are conscious of time and we are conscious of memories, and why we reflect upon them as a self, looking at ourself. 2024 is going to be a big deal, beloveds, spiritually, to yourself. In the arena, in the area of choosing your highest self and allowing that to be your truth, to be your decision of your discernment, being your house rule, being the head, that being the head of your house being your consciousness, your will, so to speak. So there's a lot that came forth in this lesson of the Pink Yeti sweater. And I did, I advise you to Google the metaphysical and spiritual meaning of the Sasquatch or the Yeti. Okay? Because it has its own symbiology, archaeology, arcane, what is the word I'm looking for? Archetype. There we go. Everything in existence is here to teach you. Everything has its own wisdom, its own brand of wisdom, its own label, its own diversity, and unique wisdom. And the revelations are only grasped from what you see and what you can hear, what you are able to spiritually receive, how pure, how clear your radio channel or your ability to tune and fine tune and redefine and refine is. And that has to be a desire. That has to be your strongest desire. To know the truth. To be the truth. To live the truth. To love unconditionally the truth. And be loved by it. And that is going to do it for this video, beloveds. Thank you so much. And I'm not going to get rid of those pictures, those AI pictures on my Facebook page. I did get rid of them on my phone. I am going to delete the app from my phone simply because that's not the direction for me. That's not the pleasure. That's not what I want to indulge in, the appearance of, that I want to invite. I don't want to invite that energy, that essence, that lie, that imagination, that fantasy into my truth. I don't want my truth being watered down. I don't want my truth being sugar-coated. I want it raw, natural, real. And I have to live that. I can't just say it, think it, feel it. And so, a lot of things will be shifting because of it. So, I look forward to that too. Like I said, a lot is changing. The nostalgia itself The way things used to be just shows the depth, the growth, the maturity, the different energies, the different spiritual conscious awareness of then versus now, and the appreciation for the now, even though it had to come through those memories. That reality of those memories. So, life is life. See it, hear it, know it, mother it. Be the best mama you can. The most loving, the most forgiving, the most understanding, the most patient, the most wise mother that you can to yourself. You have the conscious ability to do so. And by doing so, not only individually will you benefit, but that will radiate out towards the collective, and it will support and synergize and energize and help brighten and hold that light frequency that needs to be held. That light frequency is a Christ consciousness, so it's a consciousness. It's not a religion, it's a consciousness. It's a knowing. Namaste, beloveds. Thank you.